Coming up, politicians battle on Capitol Hill as Republicans move forward with repealing the Affordable Care Act. How did leading members of the Democratic Party weigh in today?
And an outbreak of yellow fever in Brazil could potentially spread to the United States. How do health officials plan to act in order to prevent another epidemic like Zika?
And are you planning on staying on campus for spring break? The university is offering some services for students while they spend their week in Syracuse. James Groh will have more on the story live on CitrusTV News.
This is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening and welcome to Citrus TV News live at 6. I'm Maria Cinti.
And I'm Mike Riccardi, filling in again tonight for Michael Tricarico.
Governor Cuomo announced today his plan to ensure clean drinking water for New Yorkers. The Clean Water Infrastructure Act will set aside $2 billion of the executive budget for the state's water infrastructure. In addition, $60 million in grants were approved by the New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation to support drinking water projects throughout the state. And the Syracuse economy, is it a boom or a bust? According to a new report, Syracuse was ranked dead last for economic growth for metro areas. The report focused on economic growth for 2010 to 2015 for the top 100 largest metro areas in the United States. The low ranking was due to poor productivity levels, standard of living, and average annual wage. The city's employment rate also increased by only 1.3%.
The Syracuse University Digital Scholarship Space, or the DSS for short, held an open house today for students interested in digital content. Different video games, presentations, and board games were set up on the 4th floor of Byrd Library. Students and faculty were encouraged to attend, grab a piece of cake, and talk with representatives. The DSS partners with the Information Technology Center and Byrd Library to provide technological resources to students. A service of commemoration will be held on March 21st to honor members of the SU community who passed away in 2016. The service will be held in Hendricks Chapel and will include remarks from Chancellor Severud. It will also include prayer and music from the Hendricks Chapel Choir and the University Organist and Labor. It will be the first of what is set to be an annual event in honor of the loss of students, faculty, and staff.
And with the spring break right around the corner, SU students are eager to get off campus for a week of vacation. However, some students are staying here in Syracuse instead of traveling back home. What services is the university offering them while class is out of session? Citrus TV reporter James Groh has more on this story.
Spring break is just around the corner. The weather is warming up, the skies are blue, and birds are chirping. But the students who stay on campus during the vacation notice something else: a deserted school.
It's like any other break. It becomes a ghost town. And it's like everyone just picks up and leaves within 30 seconds of once Friday hits, everyone's gone.
So while most students leave town and head to an exotic location, or just home, others are able to take advantage of the quiet atmosphere.
I have like 5 essays due the week after spring break, so I think if I go home, I'm not going to do the work. So I'd rather just like stay here where it's quiet.
And for students who are staying on and around campus, there's a few things that aren't open, like where I am right now, the dining halls. But that's not the only thing with different operating hours. Not as many buses operate during the break. If you live on South and need to get to main campus, you'll need to check the reduced bus schedule that Syracuse Transportation provides on their website. Food-wise, other than the dining halls, there's only 2 places open that people can eat at. There's Shine Dining and Freshens in the Life Sciences building. And Byrd is open all day, but it's closed after 8 p.m. So when break comes, the students leave, the buildings close, and the campus is quiet for a short week. James Groh, Citrus TV News.
Well, it was a little chilly outside today, but it is warming up as we go into spring.
Right, and Jack Watson is here to tell us more about what to expect. Jack?
Well, guys, as Syracuse students plan to leave the region for spring break, it's looking like they're leaving behind some winter. 34 degrees right about now, a drop of nearly 20% from 20 degrees rather from yesterday. It was 55 degrees. That's the high yesterday, and less wind than earlier this morning. There was a wind advisory in effect, but luckily that's past our region. Now I know what you're thinking. What is the weather going to be like when I leave Syracuse Friday or Saturday? I'll have that and more on my full forecast when Citrus TV News Live at 6 returns. Guys?
Coming up, Obamacare's future is looking bleak. What do lawmakers have in store for the Affordable Care Act, and what changes are they trying to make?
And a fire in Guatemalan shelter kills 31 teenage residents. We'll have more on this developing story after the break.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why? Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you get stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
You're watching Citrus TV News with Michael Tricarico, Maria Cinti, and Jack Watson with weather. Citrus TV News continues now.
The Republican bill to repeal Obamacare passed its first hurdle on Thursday.
The House of Ways and Means Committee approved the bill after more than 17 hours of debate. Democrats pressed Republicans over concerns that many will lose coverage, which Republicans look to dispel or discredit.
This comes in the wake of disapproval from the American Medical Association, which sent letters to congressional committees detailing their problems with the bill. Senator Chuck Schumer spoke out today against repealing the Health Care Act.
Democrats are here today to tell our Republican friends, turn back, drop this irresponsible plan, stop this effort to repeal, and we'll work with you to improve the Affordable Care Act. But Trump Care is a loser for just about all of America unless you're in the top 1%.
President Trump met with community bank executives this morning to discuss regulations.
The president promised to ease Obama-era regulations that were put into place during the 2007 financial crisis. The meeting comes after Mr. Trump signed an executive order instructing the Treasury Secretary to look into the Dodd-Frank Act.
President Trump hopes that the move will trigger small business spending and economic growth.
Former Utah Governor Jon Huntsman is in the process of becoming the new U.S. ambassador to Russia.
Huntsman was offered the position earlier in the week. The Republican served as ambassador to Singapore under the Bush administration and China under the Obama administration.
Though Huntsman called for Mr. Trump to withdraw from the presidential race in the wake of the leaked 2005 Access Hollywood tape, the two now exercise a cordial relationship, according to sources.
And Huntsman is expected to accept the position.
EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt says that carbon dioxide is not a primary contributor to global warming.
His position is at odds with the view held by scientific agencies such as NASA. The organization stated that human interference has caused a temperature increase of 2 degrees since the 19th century.
Pruitt also called the Paris Agreement, an international environmental accord, a, quote, bad deal. Press Secretary Sean Spicer was forced to deflect questions about the statement in his daily press briefing.
And the Washington State Attorney General is asking for the restraining order on President Trump's previous travel ban to extend to the new one.
The restraining order temporarily stopped the president's initial travel ban back in February. The second ban allows immigrants with a green card or a previously approved visa to enter the United States.
The revision also removes Iraq from the original list of countries. The second ban has not yet been instituted.
At least 31 teenage girls are dead after a fire broke out at a youth shelter in Guatemala last night.
Residents of the safe house set fire to mattresses in an attempt to escape. 19 girls died at the scene, while 12 others died later at the hospital. The fire is being investigated by federal police.
The shelter had been accused of abuse and overcrowding in the past. Several hundred children escaped, but many more are still unaccounted for.
And today is the first day of the European Council meeting in Brussels. The council meeting aims to discuss the European Union's political direction.
They re-elected their current president, Donald Tusk, from Poland. However, the Polish prime minister objected to his election. Tusk is the former prime minister of Poland, and many believe he is responsible for the 2010 plane crash that killed the former Polish president.
Today also marks Theresa May's last European Council meeting before the results of the Brexit vote go into effect this month.
A bus crash in Nepal killed at least 25 people Thursday afternoon. The bus careened off a mountain road in northwestern Nepal, falling 200 meters into a stream.
The crash killed 16 passengers on impact, and 9 more passed away later due to critical injuries. The hospital closest to the incident is struggling to help the overwhelming number of victims.
Some patients had to be transported to other hospitals to receive care, but the death toll is expected to rise.
And breaking news coming out of Germany tonight, an axe attack has injured 5 in a crowded train station.
The attack took place at the Dusseldorf train station at 9:30 p.m. German local time. 2 people were arrested by local police, and they are still searching for any other possible suspects.
Dusseldorf is the 7th most populous city in Germany and lies close to the Dutch border. This is a developing story.
From the Citrus TV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
Well, guys, you know how much I love talking about how March goes in like a lion and out like a lamb. Well, I think we're still in that lion stage. It's 39 degrees, that was our high. Early AM wind dying down, as we mentioned before, and sunny midday giving way to some afternoon clouds. Our current temperatures in and around the area, as we said, Syracuse 34, Cortland 35, Ithaca 40, Binghamton 41, and down there in Elmira 42 degrees, lucky them. Now, our future radar showing in the overnight hours not that much precipitation, but a little bit around 5, 6, 7 a.m., and that's going to be a snow development moving south very quickly, so not too much to worry about for your commute. We'll talk about that a little later. Tonight's forecast getting up to about 25 degrees, a cold and cloudy night with winds coming up to 10 miles per hour. Not as bad as last night, but still pretty windy and cold. Your Friday day planner here, your last class is 9 a.m., 27 degrees moving into noon, 28, and a 6-degree drop by 6 p.m., 22 degrees. Clouds throughout, an overcast day, and less than 20% chance of precipitation. Now your Friday travel outlook here if you're flying out of Syracuse Hancock International Airport here. Philadelphia and New York over here being heavily affected in the early morning hours with some rush hour snow/rain. It depends on how cold it gets in those regions. But the only other problem here that we can see is Seattle. But hey, Syracuse is to snow as Seattle is to rain, so I think they'll be just fine. Now, Friday road conditions here, we're projecting that it's going to be safe because of that little to no chance of precipitation. Now, your Citrus TV 5-day forecast here, 28 degrees on Friday. That drops by 10 to 18 degrees and then more of the same on Sunday. But the sun returns for Monday, and then there is a chance of snow. We're not quite safe from the snow just yet.
So, Jack, many students are going home for spring break, but what should they expect when they come back in about a week?
Well, when we come back, there's going to be heavy precipitation, 40% chance on Sunday. Depending on how cold it gets, that could be rain and it could be snow.
As James told us earlier, a lot of students are staying on campus over break. What can they be expecting?
Well, throughout the week, besides the snow event that could happen on Tuesday, 70% chance of that. Throughout the rest of the week, not too much going on besides those 20 to 30 degree temperatures, guys.
All right, thanks, Jack. And coming up, RadioShack files for bankruptcy for the 2nd time. What's in store for the future for this electronics company and its employees?
And J-Rod, singer Jennifer Lopez, and retired Yankee Alex Rodriguez confirmed they're in a relationship. We'll have more after the quick break.
I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed, it could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
If you see news happening on campus, in Syracuse, or across the nation, call the Citrus TV newsroom, 315-443-1177, or tweet at Citrus TV News, your campus news leader.
American infrastructure is certainly not an honor student. The American Society of Civil Engineers gave the United States infrastructure a D+ in its infrastructure report card. Since 1998, grades have been failing due to delayed maintenance and underinvestment. This report comes after President Trump's pledge to update the nation's infrastructure with a $1 trillion investment. Details of the plan have not yet been released. Well, first it was Zika, but now it's yellow fever. An outbreak of yellow fever in Brazil could potentially reach the United States through the same species of mosquito that spread the Zika virus. The outbreak first started in southeastern Brazil and is now spreading to urban areas. Although there is a vaccine for the disease, it is not commonly distributed in urban areas. Many Brazilians have been vaccinated this year to avoid turning the outbreak into an epidemic.
RadioShack is filed for bankruptcy for the second time. The electronic retailer will be closing 200 stores. After its bankruptcy in 2015, RadioShack partnered up with Sprint, but both have continued to struggle. The retailer struggles to compete with retailers such as Best Buy and Amazon and has continued to focus more on its own private brands. Alex Rodriguez may not be a Yankee anymore, but he is still hitting home runs. The New York Daily News announced last night that Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez have been dating for the last 4 months. A-Rod was seen recently backstage at one of J-Lo's concerts in Las Vegas. A-Rod has recently been linked with Kate Hudson, Cameron Diaz, and Ann Wojcicki.
I'm KJ Vaughn. Coming up in sports, we hear from Andrew White, John Desko, plus there was a ton of NFL action today, so stay tuned.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, It just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Syracuse lacrosse gets ready to play their first game outdoors this weekend, and head coach John Desko mentioned how he has to change his game plan when he needs to factor in the weather.
That's what we've been trying to do, is get outside this week. It is our first road game. It's probably going to be cold on Saturday. Actually, we're going to practice here tomorrow before we leave because there's supposed to be some snow on the ground down there. So we got to see how we're going to perform on the road outside. We've been comfortable in the Carrier Dome and the Ansley Center, and that's why we've tried to get as much practice the last couple of weeks outside as we can. As we've seen throughout Division I lacrosse, anybody can beat anybody right now.
The Syracuse men's basketball team lost in the second round of the ACC tournament yesterday, and after the game, Andrew White had a positive outlook on his team's season and even their postseason hopes.
Figured out what it takes to win, and that's helped getting into the meat of the ACC season. And I think we've just picked up our intensity, and we've done everything we could to put us in a position to be considered for the postseason. So we've done everything we could up to this point. I think we have a lot of potential, a lot of things we can do well. So just proud of where we coming from, where we started early in the year.
Coach Boeheim and his team will have to wait until Sunday night to see if they have done enough to get a bid to the NCAA tournament. Currently, they are 18-14 and boast 3 wins over top 10 teams. However, many bracketologists point to Syracuse's weak non-conference schedule, which is 214th in the nation, and their 2-11 record away from the Carrier Dome as main reasons why the Orange will not get a bid into this year's tournament. Former SU soccer star Chris Nanko has signed a deal with the Bethlehem Steel of the United States Soccer League. The deal still needs to be approved by the league and federation. Nanko was drafted by the Philadelphia Union in the 3rd round of the MLS draft. The Steel are the Union's USL affiliate, and Nanko finished his SU career in 2016, scoring 7 goals on the year. The Syracuse softball team starts its conference schedule tomorrow. The Orange will face off with the Wolfpack of North Carolina State tomorrow at 3 p.m., kicking off a 3-game series down in Raleigh. Syracuse has a 2-5 all-time record against the Wolfpack, and the series is part of a big spring break trip down south for the 12-6 Orange. And the Knicks lost to the Bucks last night, 104-93 in Milwaukee. Derrick Rose looked like his old self, scoring 26 points while dishing 6 assists. And Porzingis added in 13 points to go along with 8 boards. Meanwhile, for Milwaukee, it was Antetokounmpo who powered the Bucks with a double-double, scoring 32 points and 13 rebounds. He also dished 7 assists. So a good game for the Bucks, and it pulls Milwaukee to within 2 games of the final Eastern Conference playoff spot. Also in action, the Nets were playing the Atlanta Hawks, and they went down to Atlanta looking for their 2nd straight win, and the Hawks did not respond to those requests by the Nets. The Hawks won 110-105. The leader for the Hawks was Dennis Schroeder with 31 points. Paul Millsap had 24 points, and for the Nets, it was Brook Lopez who had 18 points and 6 rebounds, and also Jeremy Lin had 16 points and 8 assists. And both New York hockey teams are in action tonight. The Rangers travel down to Carolina to take on the Hurricanes. The Rangers currently hold the top wildcard spot with a 43-22-2 record. The next wildcard team behind the Rangers is the Islanders, who have a 31-23-11 record, and they are in action tonight in Vancouver to take on the Canucks. Puck drops at 7 in Carolina and 10 in Vancouver. Now, tons of moves in NFL free agency as the period kind of gets into its full swing. The big move is the Texans sending quarterback Brock Osweiler a 2nd-round pick and a 6th-round pick to the Browns for a 4th-round pick. Many league sources say that the move is done to allow the Texans to pursue Tony Romo, everybody's favorite free agent candidate. On the Cleveland side, maybe the Browns will keep Osweiler, but a lot of people are thinking they might just cut him and create some, cap room and get some picks in the deal. Also, there was a 4-year, $60 million deal signed by Calais Campbell to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which beefs up Jacksonville's already stout defensive line. Meanwhile, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have signed receiver Deshaun Jackson to a 3-year, $35 million deal. Lots of moves going on in the NFL today.
Right, well, we all know that the men's team lost yesterday, the men's basketball team. So what are their chances looking like for the upcoming NCAA tournament?
I think they've got decent chances. Boeheim in his post-game press conference yesterday did mention how you have 3 top 10 wins. That's very impressive, and he kind of compared it to last year's team, which really didn't have that many great wins. But I think a lot of people are saying they wouldn't get in this year's team because of the bad losses. That is a thing last year's Syracuse team did not have.
So you mentioned Brock Osweiler going to the Cleveland Browns. How exactly is that going to help them?
So it looks like the Browns basically had a lot of cap space, figured they could eat the $16 million on Osweiler's contract. They'll cut him after they get him, but they pick up the 2nd and the 6th round picks in the process from the Texans. And the Browns have been stockpiling a lot of draft picks, and those were both for this year's draft, the upcoming one in April. But next year, the Browns have a bunch of picks too, so that kind of looks like the Browns' strategy moving forward.
Well, KJ, thank you. And we'll be right back with a last look at weather.
Don't go away. Got a quarter?
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90 miles per hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
So Jack, when we wake up tomorrow morning, should we be expecting weather like today, or should it be a little bit nicer tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow the temperature's probably going to decrease to around 27 degrees when you're waking up. Maybe the sun peaks in at around 9 or 10 a.m., but for the most part it's going to be in the high 20s.
Well, I'm leaving it bright and early at 6 a.m. to drive to Myrtle Beach. What can I expect on the road?
Well, Mike, the road conditions are actually going to be quite nice. There is a 20% chance of precipitation throughout the day. Little to no chance for most of the day, however. At 6 a.m., I would say you're completely fine.
What about tomorrow night for those still on campus?
Well, tomorrow night, not that much of a chance of precipitation again. The precipitation comes back early next week.
All right, Jack, thank you.
And coming up on OTN, we've got On the Bench at 6:30, followed by Juice and Java at 7.
And then make sure to tune into our political talk show, Talking Points, at 7:30.
And that's all the time we have tonight. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at CitrusTV News. I'm Maria Cinti.
And I'm Mike Riccardi. Have a good night, Syracuse.